Question, for example, that a BJP leader asked yesterday is that what if, this whole business of direct democracy and a referendum on every issue, if this were to be extended and there were to be a referendum across India and 50.6% of the people were to turn around and say that they want a Ram Mandir in Ayodhya, then what will the Aam Aadmi Party do? Questions are being, you've set a template in Delhi. You say that direct democracy and Swaraj is the way forward on important issues. What if another party believes that Ayodhya is an important issue, and parties believe that Ayodhya is an important issue, and they hold a referendum on Ayodhya? Then what happens, sir?
Aam Aadmi Party began with this conviction. So the idea of a referendum or people's consent is not one of the peripheral, also ran ideas of Aam Aadmi Party. It is very much central to the conviction. Aam Aadmi Party is about Swaraj. The very opening line of our party's constitution says, Aam Aadmi Party is about returning power back to the people. How do you return it back to the people? By decentralization, by people's direct participation. So we need, from the current model of representative democracy, where you give trust, and for 5 years ordinary person is supposed to then sleep because the Neta enjoys the trust and they can play with it which way they like. We want to move towards a model of participatory democracy.
No, but you're not answering my question. What happens if BJP, for example, conducts a referendum on the issue of Ayodhya, sir?
I'm coming to that. One of the key questions about participatory democracy all over the world, there's nothing peculiar about India, is what if minority rights are trampled? And all over the world there have been safeguards. Participatory democracy debate is not something which has begun in India 1 year ago. There have been extensive discussions, and one of the key points of that discussion is no amount of participatory democracy can be used to crush the voice of minorities. Number two, you cannot use these referendum-like instruments to settle scores one against another. A Congress spokesperson asked me on one of those interviews, what if Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have this dispute, will you hold a referendum? I mean, they're silly things. All these silly things are being raised in order to caricature the idea of participatory democracy. All we are saying is that when people give power to their representatives, it's not a blank check for 5 years. When there are critical decisions, huge decisions, especially decisions that concern either the course of life of a nation or the life and livelihood of the person concerned, then people should be involved in participation.
Okay, let me give you an example. Ayodhya is one which we've left on the side. There's Telangana, which concerns people of Andhra Pradesh, both in Simandra and in Telangana. Are you okay with the idea of a referendum across Andhra Pradesh to decide what happens to Telangana, sir?
As I said, unlike my colleague Prashant Bhushan, I would not be able to give you exact answer on each of these examples that you are using. I'm only stating a principle. The principle is people's voice must be heard, must be respected. And mind you, this is a principle which has actually implicitly always been used in all those Telangana decisions. Why has the Congress decided for Telangana? Clearly it has to do with the voice of the people.
So you're not ruling out the possibility of a referendum on an issue like Telangana, where you go back to the people and ask them, do you want to separate from Andhra Pradesh, and whether they want to stay together?
Now, I'm not giving you a breaking news. I'm simply saying that in principle, people's voice must trump in democracy. We have to devise ways. Representative democracy 20th style has severe limitations. People are fed up. They think that once they've given vote, they are helpless, powerless for 5 years. We don't want that. We want people to be able to have a say and voice. What's wrong with that? Why are we so scared about the mention of the word people? Not just you, not you, but when these big leaders of political parties get scared the moment you say people, people's voice, that makes me suspect. Why is it that they are so scared of it?